We'll be starting this live stream in a few minutes. I'm just setting up my screen, and we are a little bit before time, a minute or two. So I'm just waiting for viewers to join. Yes, I also have the live chat open for my reference so that I can answer your queries in real time. Mhm. Okay, so let's begin. So here I'll be walking you through to building an e-commerce application. And I have a GitHub repository as well, which I will be using here for demonstrating. I'll be demonstrating it in GitHub Codespaces. So this is my GitHub Codespaces based on the repository. So now let me review this one by one. So here, if you want to see what is my environment, I have a code space which is named MicroProfile tutorial, and it's based on a universal container image. It has Node.js, Java, Ruby, Python. So this is my container runtime and my VS Code. So here you see my IDE is Visual Studio Code. It has the following extensions. I have the Copilot extensions. So you are seeing this chat on the left side, on the right side. And here I can kind of ask questions and get clarification. It can also do some code changes for me. Then I have SK Doctor. This is just I'm writing documentation. So that's why I have it here. You may not need this. Then preview. Preview is for previewing the documentation. So again, these two extensions you may not need. But yes, what you would need is the VS Code Java pack. This is an extension. This is the extension ID which you can put in your add extension panel to search for the extension and then install. So to install any extension, you have to go on the left side. You see here the extensions tab. You click on this and you can search the extension by providing this extension ID. So for example, I can just say Java pack. I've given the complete ID so that you don't you can find the exact one and you don't get confused if you see multiple results, right? So that way you will able to see the extensions and then you can install it just by clicking on the extension and say install, uninstall. So in this case, this extension is already installed in my IDE. So I see uninstall option, but if it's not installed in your Visual Studio Code, you may install it. So this is my dev container configuration. I'll just close my other files, which I'm not right now using. And I'll just open the dev configuration file. So this is the interface. Everyone should be familiar because I have covered it multiple times in the previous sessions. So I'm not spending more time here. Let me close all my files, and then I will start reviewing and taking you through the code. I have a Maven extension as well. I have an Open Liberty extension and MicroProfile pack. So these 4 extensions, what you will be requiring. Let me put this in the chat also, so that you can also code with me. So here, so I would say VS Code extensions, VS Code extensions to install in your this is the list, and this is the view VS Code code you should install. There is some settings, so not going through, that's not that much required, it's for convenience. Then some commands which I'll be running, this is also not required for you, and the ports which I will be forwarding. So yeah, here I have here ports which are one port for the app, other for documentation side. We may not need this ports attribute, but let's keep it for the time being. Later we can think of removing it, because you see here on the ports, we get these 2 ports exposed by default. And this may not be required, because when the port will be started, this we can configure after running the code also. So let me remove these. We'll get back to this if there is some problem, but for now I think this is not required, and we don't need to rebuild it. Let's keep it like this only. So yeah, so here these are our settings, these are our extensions, these are our runtime, and I'm using the same runtime to build my MicroProfile app, as well as I'm using the same for building the documentation. So that's why I have more extensions. Maybe I will share 2 container images, one for the developers, other for documentation creators. That would be more convenient for developers. Now let's go to my other files. So for example, here I have README documentation. So license is fine. This is distributed under open source license. So that's fine. I will not go through in this detail. This is a standard one. Then I have a README file. Again, I'll preview it so that it looks better and you will be able to understand it. So this is a learning guide. So this is anyway not required. You have here details about what has changed. I will not go through it in detail, because I've updated to the latest MicroProfile 7.1. There are changes for REST client and many other features as well. I'll update that as well. And this is changes in other sections, and we have been talking about what all has been updated. So now dependencies which are updated: MicroProfile 7.1, Jakarta E10, MicroProfile REST client. Also, we have updated the Java version as well to Java 21. And the repository, branch and version strategy and all that, we can ignore for the time being, because we'll be covering mostly about, we have the previous version also in this repository. Future versions will also be in separate branches. So this is what all it's talking about. So we can ignore it for the time being. And so these are instructions to kind of clone this repository. So let me move on to developer's guide, because this is something which is relevant for us right now. Others we will discuss later. So let me come back on the left side and I see the preview on the other side. So this is the developer's guide. This is what we should be interested now. So you see here we have this guide, how to download and work with our source code. So in this we have documented about each of the chapters. The coding will start from chapter 2. So the MicroProfile tutorial is a complete e-commerce application built on Jakarta E10 and Jakarta MicroProfile 7.1. We can update this now. A real-world usage of MicroProfile features through a multi-service architecture. So catalog service, inventory service, user service, there will be multiple services. These are the code organization. So in the repository, you would be seeing here code, and within the code, you have chapter 2, chapter 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on till 11. Let's not get into too much details here right now. These chapters I will update also. So each chapter directory contains one or more microservices. So this is the code structure. So you have within each of the code chapters, say for example, a microservice called, this is the service name. In chapter 3 also you have two microservices, catalog and e-commerce store. So here this is the structure, source code. So we have the service name src main Java. So Java source code. Let me put this like this. So you have a Java directory within each of the source directory, and Java directory contains the source code. Then you have Liberty config. This is having server.xml, which will be the server configuration. Then there is resources. Resources is having multiple resources. Then we have test. Test contains unit tests and integration tests. So here we have the tests. Then we have web applications. So here this web app folder is there, which we have not talked about. Not that much useful right now, but pom.xml, readme, doc. These are other files which you may have in each of the chapters. There may be some other test scripts as well, based on chapter to chapter, that will be described in readme documentation. So now let's move further. Getting started, we have Java Development Kit JDK 17 or later. I will put 21. I will start using 21. Now Maven 3.8. So let me see what exactly is the Maven version which I am using. So Maven we will use the latest version which will be available. And the latest Maven which is available is so let's check what's the latest Maven version which is available in the web Maven site. So Maven site is Apache Maven, and in the Apache Maven we can download the latest one, 3.9.12. So if you can see here, 3.9.12 is the latest Maven version, current version. which is available. So Apache Maven, this is the latest version. So this is recommended for all users. And this requires JDK 8 or above. It still allows you to build against other JDK versions. Okay. So we will be anyway downloading this using our build script. So yeah. This is Maven, which is used is 9.12. So let me update this also, or later. Git is used for cloning the repository. As such, latest version is fine enough. Now we can do the environment setup. So you can check whether you have the SDK man installed. So if you have this SDK man installed, you should be able to run this command. This will list all the Java environments which are available. So this is the package manager. So you see here different Java environments JDK, and the one which we have installed is the Microsoft one, so it will come above. Yeah, you see here we have 21.0.9 installed, right? So you can read this documentation and or view my other videos where I've described about SDK man in detail, about how to install it, how to use different Java versions. Let me also share the documentation about SDK man. One of my popular Medium story. I have a blog on Substack as well as on Medium. So people who are wondering about SDK man, they can look into this particular article to get the details about SDK man. So here is the article link. Let me put this in the chat for everyone. So this article is titled How I Manage Multiple Java Versions Seamlessly in My Dev Environment. So that's my blog. Other one is, let me also put the path for the other one. Which is how to configure for your team different SDKs using SDK man, so that everyone is on the same environment. And then name is of this article is so I've put the details about SDK man. If you read, go through them, you will be very good in using SDK man. Visual Studio Code, you can use any of the IDs, so no problem with that. And then within each of these IDs, what are the plugins you have to install, that's also listed here. So you see here, this is up-to-date documentation, so which contains Visual Studio Code, and these are the extensions to be installed. And if you are using IntelliJ IDEA, these are the extensions to be installed. For Eclipse also, I have provided list of extensions to be installed. Now instructions to download the source code, and then how to work. So this is all about developer documentation. So let's look into the source code, because we are building a microservice for an e-commerce application, and we will be starting with Eclipse. We will be starting with catalog service. So here I have chapter 2 source code. In this, let's start with the POM file. Now let me start renaming this. So I would like to rename this. So let me use Copilot here, because this will be beneficial easy so that I don't commit any mistakes. I would say rename my microservice in chapter 2 from MP e-commerce store to catalog. So this is what I want to do, just for making all my source code uniform. I'm doing this rename. Earlier I thought I would be using a project which is called MP e-commerce store. Then I decided that, okay, let me put just the service microservice names. So that's why I'm now renaming it. So basically, if you see, it's analyzing, and what it will come up with, we will change here this artifact ID. We will change the folder. So here it's reading pom.xml currently, and now they will be updating it at various places. So this is one thing which is to be updated. There are context that needs to be updated as well. These are the two places some changes have to be done, and the folder, of course, that needs to be changed. So let me allow the Copilot to change the folder. So you see here, just with some prompt, I am able to achieve it. So I don't need to run bash commands or remember them. I can just allow it, and it will rename it in chapter 2. So when I ask this, it should do it. Yeah, you see here, this is now done. Chapter 2 folder is renamed to catalog. Now it's reviewing, say, pom.xml, and we'll make changes here. So it will change this one, catalog. Perfect. This looks good. And then the other change is this one. Both these changes looks good to me. Then now it's looking into the documentation. So let me, you can look into the changes here by, so this is the plugin, Copilot plugin, which is enabling all this support. Now in the README doc, if there is some documentation, it will change it. So it's microservice. So it's changing here. This is not that much required, because it's, anyway, the overall project is called MicroProfile e-commerce store. It has within that catalog service. So we won't do this change. This is good. And this is also good. So other changes in the documentation is also done. I could have done this manually as well, but I might miss out some places. So that's why I decided to do it with the help of the Copilot. Right? So some more changes I might do. For example, here I'm updating this to 7. So Copilot is also suggesting it. So that's good feature. And switching between Java versions and all that I have documented. So this is all taken care of. Yeah. Now it's trying to reviewing all these changes so that it ensures that nothing has been missed out. So that's why it's doing the search. Okay, now it's building it. So it will also verify it. So that's good thing that it is building this as well. Okay, if you miss out to review something, then you can go here and then review what are the changes. So diff will be shown here. So this looks good. Then readme has been updated at all the places. So that's good. And then it's asking me to allow to run. Let me quit this and I will allow it to run ambient clean. Perfect. Okay, not sure what it is doing. Let me do it by myself. So here you see the code structure. We have chapter 2, code, chapter 2. Within this, we have the catalog service. So let me go to code. Then we go to chapter 2. And then we finally go to the catalog project. Now, if I look into this project, I have the pom.xml file. So I can run here mvn clean. This will clean the records, clean the project and compile it as well. Okay. So now we will look into the server.xml because there would be some more changes here. So here you can see that MD e-commerce store is renamed to catalog. This is a great change. It has done automatically. I'll keep this. So this is also changed. Okay, so let's stop this. Okay, let's do it. It's giving good commands here. Ambient clean package, skip tests. So when this is there, okay, not sure. So it's facing some issues. See, the GitHub Copilot is a new platform, so may not be matured. Sometimes it gets stuck, cannot do things properly. Okay, the model. So in this GitHub, there are various options. Custom agents, I can update. I can have a chat session in the background, cloud, local. So this is various options. And then there is third option, which is I can choose a model. I like the Claude Sonnet 4.5. I will pick that. And I will current model, I will just stop because this looks good. My code has been compiled. And then I have ambient Liberty dev mode to run the catalog service. So now my catalog service will be running. I don't see any warnings. It's showing 7.0 MicroProfile version, which is fine. 7.1 is just a minor update on 7.0. And we have the ports also available. Here the port which we have used is defined in pom.xml. So here, if you see, we are not using MicroProfile, it's just Jakarta E10, which has been used. And in pom.xml, let's see what's the ports which are defined. So it's defined in the top within the properties. So port is 5051. 5050 is for HTTP port. So now we can test this particular application. So 5050, I can just click on this icon. It will open it in the new browser. They do port forwarding. Okay, so you see here, this is the Open Liberty homepage. And then I have catalog as the name of the service. So I go to the root, there's nothing in the root, but then there should be an API/product. This is my REST API, which will be returning me list of products. At the moment, I have two hard-coded products. So now let's look into the source code. So what I have is I have a entity. Entity is the product. So I have a public class product which has ID, name, description, and price. Very simple microservice entity. And then I have a resource class which defines various CRUD operations on it as HTTP operations. So here I have created a list of products. Now I have in the constructor defined it as a array list, and I have added items to it. Two items I have added. One is the iPhone, other one is MacBook. And this is what is being returned by this microservice. So one is iPhone, other one is MacBook, with all the details as hard-coded here. Then I have a get product service which will return the products. So this is the simplest microservice which has here REST application, context application path as API. So here that's why the path is catalog, which is the context of the project. Then you have API, which is the application path, and then there is a service path. So if I look into the source code again, you will see here in resource, we have defined it as products. So basically first thing which is used is within service server.xml, what is the context path? So here context root is defined in app.context.root property. So we look into pom.xml. In the pom.xml, we see here app.context.root will be app.context.root is catalog. Then we have the application REST application path, which is defined in product REST application. This is API. And then finally we have the service path, which is product. So that's why we have the project root context, then the REST application context, and then we have this is the REST application path, and then the resource path. And we have the get operation, which gives a list of products as we defined. So this is about microservice, and we have the entire documentation also. Okay. So let's try to remove here the microprofile, because we are not using any microprofile feature. It's all based on Jakarta EE at the moment. And basically JAX-RS web service. This is a JAX-RS web service, which is now called Jakarta Restful web service. So here in the Maven, what I can do is we don't need okay, Open Liberty version is fine. We can double check on that. So let me go to MicroProfile. We can remove this dependency. Okay. Then we can also go to server. file, we can remove this microprofile dependency as well, and then this is good enough, because it will take the RESTful W web service and JSON binding module as per the Jakarta 10.0 platform. Now let me run this again in the terminal. Okay, we are running it in the dev mode, so it will automatically update as I'm making changes to the code. Code is also updated. So you see here feature updated, and it rebuilds it, redeploys it. So this is all about loose application. So let me share about loose of applications also, because this is what provides excellent feature for very fast development for developers. And as you change the code, it in real time redeploys and reruns it. So you don't have to stop the server, redeploy your packages, and again restart and test. So this saves a lot of time. So let me also put this details about loose applications, because these are the concepts which we are using, and as and when I'm encountering a new concept that you should be aware of, I am also sharing the details about any articles on the topic so that you have complete understanding. So here I'm just sharing the link in the chat so that, just a minute, I closed by mistake the chat window. Let me open that chat window again. I'm just signing in to the chat, and should be there in a minute. Yes. So I have signed in. Maybe in background. Okay, yeah, it is opening it in browser window only for my environment. But yes, now I should be able to chat and send you the link of how I use loose application to speed up my Java application development. So now we have verified this microservice, not fully, we have to test it. Just I will refresh. Let's see. It returns the list of product. Yes, it's returning the list of product. Now this is good, and we have a test also. So this is our unit test. Here we have a unit test which is using JUnit. So Jupyter JUnit 5 is being used, and in this we will call the product resource, and it will test as a unit. So it will create a new product resource. It will call the test get products, and then it will check whether there are two products or not. And if it is, then it passes. So we can run this, and the command to run this is also written here in the documentation. So let me point you to that. So running the test, you can run this ambient test command. It's as simple as this. So let me go, let's stop this instance, and let's run this as a unit test. This we should have done. Yeah, I will stopped it, and then I would say ambient test. So it will run the unit test. and will show us the results of the unit test. So there was one test which is run and it was successful. Great. So you see the green. There's no failures, no errors, no test is skipped. You can also give the entire class path if there are multiple tests and you want to run any specific test, then you can give the exact class path and then it will execute only that particular test. So this is our chapter 2 source code is good, ready. Now let me go and commit all these changes which we have done. So this is some other chapter, process results, public resources, etc. We'll revisit on that later, but let me keep that changes for the time being. So I will update my developer documentation. I will update dev container, form.xml. So other files I will just I'm renaming the folders and deleting previous files and replacing them with the new files. So that is what is committed here. And these two are for different chapters, so we'll not bother about that for the moment. So as you see here, most of the changes are on chapter 2 and of course on dev container, which we did before starting chapter 2. So for getting a message, I will again use Copilot. Copilot will analyze the changes and it will provide a message. So it's a feature, catalog microservices, update dependencies and documentation. So there is a good enough description. I'm fine with it. I will commit and push this to my repository. Okay, so let me pull some changes if there are. So let's say git pull okay, there were some documentation changes. So let's put this outside. Okay, and then merge branch v.7 into. Okay, so let's say we will do git status. Sorry, the typo. So we do the git status. So there were some changes, right? So let's keep it like that. No worries at the moment. We will be pushing all these changes later. So now we have chapter 2 catalog service. Now let's go to chapter 3. Again in chapter 3 we have this service, catalog service, and then we have another service. Okay, here let's look into the catalog service, what changes have been done. In catalog service, we should have now entity, resource, repository. So we have updated this. There's no change in the REST product, REST application. Application is API. And then we have restructured the code into multiple layers. We added more services as well. We look into the entity. In entity, let's see what's the change. There's a lot of changes here. We have assigned it to database table products, right? So this is we have used ORM, object relational mapping. So we just have said that this is an entity, this class is an entity class by marking an annotation, then putting table link here, and then defining various validations as well. So about this is ID, then what's the strategy for generating the ID so that the ID could be generated automatically. And then we have various other validations like not null validation with message what to be displayed. Then we have column validations and nullable is equal to false and decimal minimal, all that is there. So we have getters and setters as well. We could have used Lombok because earlier we have used Lombok, and in Lombok, as you can see here, let me open the entity file. So we have not used any getters and setters. We have used here the data annotation, which automatically creates getters and setters. And then we have used the annotation. So that's how we have reduced drastically the boilerplate code. Now coming to our next version of the microservice, here this has entity we saw, we have here in memory. So we have used a qualifier, which is again a Java EE or Jakarta EE feature, CDI qualifier, which can make this implementation using the same interface, either a memory based implementation and or a database based implementation. For database implementation, we have a qualifier called JPA. Then we have a repository. We have two repositories. One repository is for storing the data in database. Other repository is for storing the data in memory. So for in memory, we are using concurrent hash maps because we have to find the IDs very fast, and we also have to support concurrency. This will ensure thread safety, and this way in our application multiple calls can be made to the same server, and there will be no no race condition. All the requests will be served concurrently without impacting each other. And then we have products, and then we have methods to find all products. We have find products by ID, so we have added more methods here in the repository. So here this has the business logic to retrieve, or it has the database logic to retrieve the data. And then we have a repository, JPA repository. This here will have transactional annotation to ensure that all the method calls are transactional. So we can do this in the class level, or we can do this in the method level. All your methods which are modifying the data should be marked as transactional, so that the atomicity acid properties will be enforced on all the operations which you will be doing here. So we have two repository, one for storing the data in the database, other one to store the data in the memory. Then we have an interface which defines the methods of this repository. And then finally we have the repository type, which is an annotation interface which we defined. So this is all about the repository. It has the complex structure of repository. All this is not the scope of MicroProfile, but it's a best practice for building microservices which can store data on multiple data stores. Now here we have the resource class. It defines various HTTP operations, for example, get, And here, let's look into the product service. Product service has the application scope. It is injecting repository. So it's injecting the interface, but we are using qualifier. And if we want to use in memory, we just change this and make it in memory implementation by changing this qualifier. So if we use here something like right, so this is your if we uncomment this line and comment the one above, it will make this implementation in memory implementation instead of JPA. So this is such a convenient way to create a service which can either talk to a database or to an in-memory implementation, or if you have NoSQL and SQL implementation, you can do same. So this is a convenient pattern to build a microservice which can use multiple storages. Now this is our logic, business logic for deleting. Basically, we are calling here the repository. So repository dot find all products, repository dot find product by ID. So it just have some validation, business logic, and then it is calling repository to update the data storage. So this is all about our updated version of the microservice, which we have updated in chapter 3. Let's look into MP e-commerce store. So in this MP e-commerce store, we have here demonstrated the logging part. So that's why we had two different names, or we have used two different services. So here, no changes to product applications still. Let me close all so that no clutter is there in my ID, and then we can go through each of these. Because here we have a catalog implementation which is based on the database. Here we have a catalog implementation which is based on logging. So here we are using interceptor pattern to demonstrate use of logging. So logging demo service is there, a demonstration class showing how to apply interceptor to individual methods, correct? So here we have defined a package called interceptor. In interceptor, we are using an annotation. So we have defined a new annotation called logged. And this logged interceptor could be applied either to the class or to the method. And this will be retained in the runtime, and based on this interceptor binding, this interface will be used to inject logging. Now let's go to the logging interceptor code. Logging interceptor code has this logged and interceptor as annotations, and here we have various methods which have been defined. So their prop priority is also defined, and then we have here logic for invoking the method, right? So this is your interceptor. And then we have here logging properties, which is just to configure this logger. So we have info logging, we have console handler, we have various log level defined. So that's mostly this microservice. So here again, we are not using MicroProfile. So we can remove these this feature. So now let's also rename this and update it so that it becomes catalog microservice. And we'll try to demonstrate the interceptor with this with something called the catalog. So let me think about how should I rename. So is our product repository. What about using some other microservice for demonstrating catalog? So here we have catalog. We have in chapter 5 the payment service. This looks good. Let's use the payment service. Let's see if we can create the payment service on the fly, and we apply the interceptor logging binding there. So here we have a class called payment details. So here let's replicate this class. So let me in chapter 3 create another service called new folder payment service. That way we will be able to demonstrate the interceptor. Okay. So we have a payment project. Within this, we have to have the src main Java. Okay, so here we will create more folder structure. Okay, and then we have within this particular entire path. So here and then within this we can create a new class which is a Java file, and here we can name this Java file as new Java file and a class. Okay, now it's being io.microprofile dot tutorial dot store dot payment and dot entity. This is the name of the package, but it should contain not this entity is the package. So let me redo it again and just by mistake pressed enter. So that's why it came like that. Now let me create a new class within the payment of chapter 3. So within the payment, let's say new Java file class. I'll use again the io.microprofile dot tutorial dot store dot payment dot entity, and then payment details. This is the name of my entity. So when I apply this, then a new class is created, and this is how I will create a new payment detail class. So here it is suggesting, yeah, you have a package, then you have a class. So let's reuse, and this will be very interesting for you because I'm implementing it from scratch, and I'm using the features of Copilot. So see, it's already suggesting me what all I should do. And let's say I will say here data, we will say no argument constructor, no. So it's kind of guessing what I am kind of trying to do. Payment detail class, then we have the card number, we have the card holder name, okay. We have expiry date, and we have the security code, lot of other details, and the amount, and that's it. So let's see what were the entities which were defined earlier, right? The same. So we have card name, holder name, card number, holder name, expiry date, security code, amount. So we were able to kind of get all these fields from our Copilot. So here IO microprofile tutorial store payment entity. So it's saying it's not matching because we don't have the Java folder, is it? Yeah. Okay, so we have to move this to this particular folder. Okay, let me do that in a minute. So this one, yeah, although we had this, so let me do this manually, faster, new folder. I'll create entity, and then now I will move this payment class within the entity. Perfect. So now I can delete this other entity which we created by mistake last time. Correct. So all these folders could be deleted. And let me delete this IO folder at the top level so that everything below is also deleted in one go. So now we have created an entity class, a Pojo, plain old Java object. Now, next thing is we will be creating a resource for this. So you have an entity, you will need a resource, you will need a service. So let's say we have a resource here. The resource will have get payment configuration. So in this case, it was trying to kind of get the payment configuration. And then here we have a service. Service class will have a method which will be process payment. So process payment is the method. So basically this particular service has a method called process payment. And when you process the payment, it will read the configuration, which is the payment gateway to be used, and make the call to the relevant payment gateway. So that is how this implementation is architected. So let's create the similar here. So you have the payment entity. Now let's create a second thing we should do is we create a service, or we can create a resource. So let's create both these at the same time. Resource, and then I will create within payment another folder which will be called service. I don't need to create all these folders individually. I could directly create a file, then the ID will create for me the required folder structure. So now here I am going to put payment service. Let me call this. So this was what it was there in chapter 4, I believe. Catalog, not chapter 4, chapter 5. Payment had payment service. And in payment service, we had payment service. Then we have resource, which is called payment config resource. It's named like that, so we can name it also like that, because there is something called payment config as the path, and then you have process payment. Right? So but that was demonstrating the configuration capability of microservice. This we will discuss later. So let's say here I will ask Copilot to create for me. So let me go here. Okay, not this one. Yes, we'll say we will close everything, close all. Now we will ask Copilot create a simple payment service and payment resource. Okay, simple service and resource class for my payment microservice in chapter 3 folder. So it will suggest a simple example which I can use for demonstration purpose. And for others, what I will also do is I will explain you the resource pattern. So we used resource pattern for building this microservice. Okay, let me just complete this and then we'll come back. It saw the payment service, even it saw the catalog service and product classes. Now it sees the pattern and then it will suggest. It's just trying to kind of fix the directory structure. Yeah, I think while copying it, something got moved incorrectly. So it has that I updated the code. So let's look into. So here we have package. IO microprofile tutorial. This looks good. So we have application scope. We have a logger. We have payment details. Validate payment details. So there's some logic here. So let's remove the unnecessary folder which got created by mistake by us. Perfect. So now we have a simple example. Okay. Nice. So here we have this catalog. We can create pom.xml and readme file. Is create a pom.xml. No need to have keys unnecessary token usage. Create a pom.xml and readme .adoc file for the payment service in chapter 3. So now my payment service is getting created. We created a catalog service. We should also create a shopping cart service. These are more popular ones. So let's create them. Yes, so it's saying that again, payment service, we don't need to store data in the database. So no need to use a Derby or JPA dependencies. It's creating a simple pom.xml. So the best way to create a new project is using Maven. So that is also documented well by me, how to create a new Java project using Maven. Because when you create folders structure manually, you have to create a lot of files and lot of folder structure, which is a lot of manual work, and there could be some minor mistakes as we did in this example. So best way is to use Maven artifact, create the structure, project structure using Maven commands. So it's created, it has created pom.xml and readme.xml. Okay, it's also, see, for example, we also have to create Liberty server configuration because we are using Open Liberty runtime for running our microservice. So that's why there are multiple folders required. So which is being now created by Copilot automatically. Let's not use here MicroProfile for the time being. Okay. So it's asking us. Okay, it allow. Let's allow it. So now with Copilot, my folder structure is getting created. So let's see what it has created in README file. So it's about payment service. Okay, cool. So it has created Java. It should, uh, yeah. So now we have our README documentation ready. Then there are methods called process a payment, validate payment details, and refund, process a refund. So these are the three services which is being provided here. With examples, this is being shared here. So it looks good to me. So it has described everything. So here we don't need MicroProfile any as of now. We'll add it in later chapters. So testing. So there are two kinds of testing. So I will also share about the testing strategy. So now having built this README file, see here, these are good examples which how we can enhance this. So we don't want to integrate with the real payment gateway as of now, because we want to understand microservices rather than dealing with financial transactions. Adding transaction logging and audit trails, this is good. Implementing idempotency for payment requests, this looks good. This we should do it first, because if someone multiple times clicks payment, it should not deduct the amount multiple times from the credit card. So adding webhook support, this is optional, I would say. Implementing retry logic, adding support for multiple payment methods. This again we may not do. Implement currency conversion and all that. This is good for a real business application, but our goal is to understand uh, microservices. So here we will just say optional. Webhook support is also optional, but I will show you in a separate session about how to implement webhooks, a service, a microservice, or a service which can process webhook requests. So these are our README file. Now we will do so I'm just wondering what is why it's not IO MicroProfile tutorial store payment I'll say keep it. No additional configuration. We have here server.xml. We can remove this microprofile part. We use CDI, JSON, Restful web service. That's fine. We'll keep it. We have here web.xml, payment service, index.html. This is also looking good to me, no problem. Then we have here payment service. Payment service has logger. So now we will implement an interceptor pattern within this uh, to have proper logging, right? So let's keep it like this. Looks good because here the services which will be called are process payment and validate payment. Only two services, right? So basically it checks that, okay, there is no null values and they have the proper length. So some basic validations. Amount is also 0. So here validate amount. Amount should be positive. Validate expiry date format. Validate security code using regular expressions, and validate card number and card holder name. For refund, also same some amount validation and processing the refund. So basically there are three service calls. One is process payment, valid payment details, and refund payment. This looks good to me. I'll keep this. And now we are looking into the resource class. Resource class is payment service. There is consumes JSON, produces JSON. Looks good. So it's creating a response and returning the response object. So again, this is a simple service. Mostly it is building up the messages and responding based on the validation which is being done using payment service. So I'll keep it again. And then in pom.xml, we have microprofile tutorial payment, var, packaging, everything defined here. The 5060 is the port which is being used. So 5050, let's see what's the port which is being used in our other service. We'll use the same one. So here we see the port is 9080 and 9081. So we'll change this again. In our chapter 3 code. So we'll use here in the pom.xml 9080 and 9081. I'll keep this project dependency. MicroProfile, again, we don't need this dependency for now. In the next chapter onwards, we will do that. So this is for testing and mocking that we'll cover. And I'll keep this. Okay. Now let me ask this particular copilot to implement the interceptor. So here, as we have done in the previous chapter, or in the same chapter in a different microservice. Yes. So here I would say implement logging using interceptor uh, in payment service, similar to how it is implemented in MP e-commerce store service, like this. So here there are various advantages of GitHub Copilot. One is it is like autocomplete. It can complete, it can predict your what is the purpose of the code which you are working on. For example, when you put class names and when you put comments, it will read them, and from the context it will try to suggest what is you are doing and makes your development very fast. Second thing is it can explain you some code which is a legacy code and which you're finding it difficult to understand. And the third thing is it can review your code as well and suggest improvements. So these are some of the benefits. Yeah, definitely. You can change and update the code which is created by Copilot. So you can do more prototyping, you can do more experimentation. So now let's see what it's doing. It's trying to create the payment interceptor package. So it's identifying that okay, the beans.xml is important because this is required for working of the interceptors. Now it's summarizing what has been done. I would also ask update about the interceptor in readme.adoc file within payment service of chapter 3. So other useful use case is any repetitive task. For example, doing documentation. It is making it very fast and easy. So you see here, I'm taking help of Copilot to create README files, and it's doing a great job in doing the README files for me. And keeping my source my project well documented. So it's now looking into the README file and then figuring out where exactly to add about interceptor, and then it will add in the right place the interceptor. So you see here now you might be wondering what is interceptor. Logging interceptor provides automatic entry and exit logging with execution time tracking for your application, not your yeah, I would say just here MicroProfile e-commerce application. It's implemented using CDI interceptors. So you can apply this to entire class using this example or individual methods. So log format can also be provided here. Okay, so this is how the log will look. Exit. So Java logging framework could be used. We use logging.properties file, and here we define the various properties, and there is a CDI interceptor bean file which is required to register the interceptor and register the discovery mode. Now logging demo service class demonstrates how to apply to individual methods. So this day, let's see what it has created here in the Java packages. So we have the demo service, we have interceptor, and we have here, great. So let me ask it, please review and check if demo, okay, not here, we can close this. I'll keep this, I will keep all the changes. As they have been verified. And let's close everything. Okay. So now let's do this. Please update. No, please verify if the payment service in chapter 3 is running, is compiling. Let's say, okay, let's do it myself manually. So I will go to the catalog, I'll go to the required service. So let me come back cd cd to chapter 3. Then I will go to payment. I'll say ambient clean. Okay, sorry, there was a typo. Again, sorry. Ambient clean. So build is successful, so it's building properly. Then I would say ambient liberty def. Okay. So in the payment service, we have no get methods. We have post method, we have post method, only post methods are there. Correct. So now what we can do is ask provide curl commands for testing payment service. Let's see. So now our payment service is running. We can verify this by going to the port. Here it was 9080 and payment, but yeah, there will not be anything which will be displayable, but at least the home page will be good indication that our server is running. Yes, server is running is 9080. I'm able to go to the Open Liberty start page. Not, yeah, this you can say welcome page. Now coming back. So it's creating curl, it's creating a test API.sh file so that I can test. So here I have two terminal windows open. One is where the server is running. Other one is the one where I will run the test scripts. Okay, so it's provided the curl command and it's also documenting it in the readme file. So it has given me examples which can be executed and which can be verified for both the positive as well as negative scenarios. I'll be sharing the code repository in the description, so don't worry. You'll be learning about the entire source code. You can try it out, you can go through it yeah, later after this session, or you can build with me also if you want. So now our test script is ready. Let's execute it. So if you have any queries, feel free to post this in the comments. It's now given a summary of what has been done. Okay, so let's go to, let's see what is the directory I'm into. I'm into MicroProfile, so let me go to code, then chapters, 3, then payment. Then I should see the test API.sh. I'll run this test script. Okay, so test API.sh. So it's now running the first method, which is valid payment details. Okay, this is using localhost 5060. Okay, so this is a problem. It should be 9080. Update the port in the test script to 9080. Now I'll run it again. I'll accept the changes. Now this has been done. So now I will be running the tests again. Yes, so you see here now this is first test is passed because you have got a 200 OK response. Then I run enter to continue. Right, so second invalid payment test is also passed. So there were three scenarios which were tested now so far. First one is valid payment details, where you have the card number, 13 characters, holder name, expiry date, security code, everything is there. Second one has a problem because the card number is very short, right? Now the third one is expiry date is format is not right. Expiry date is bad. And then is there anything else? So invalid security code. So security code is, so that's another validation which is tested. Then there is amount is 0. That is also a validation which is tested. And invalid payment. Empty card holder name. So card holder name is empty. So you see here all scenarios are being tested thoroughly. And then finally valid process valid payment. So this is everything is valid. Payment should fail validation. So refund, it's testing refund. Zero amount refund, which is failed. Invalid negative amount also it has tested. Process payment with different amounts, so it has created 13 tests, so many tests. So you can execute them and then see how the API is working. Okay, and so now let's look into the interceptor is also working here. You see here there are various warnings which were printed here. Invalid card number, invalid expiry date. So there were some warnings. Okay. We'll keep this test script. Maybe some tests are redundant or extra. But for time being, let me keep this. Okay. Now let's implement the idempotency for payment service, because that's very important, because otherwise if the same request is executed multiple times, there could be problem. Okay, let's also see that do we really need, let's review this code also with the help of Copilot. Please, or say here, review the code for payment service in chapter 03 for simplicity and effective demonstration of interceptor. So let's see. Let's review. Uh, get our code reviewed. So let's see what's doing. So it's very fast. It reviewed 4 of the files. Almost it was like 300 lines of code within few seconds. So here this is the file which is .github.copilot instructions. Keep your instruction short and precise, can degrade and performance. So this is how you can customize. So here it has found that, okay, since we are using the interceptor, it do not need manual logging. We can remove it and let the interceptor handle all the logging. So basically interceptor is a method which will be called whenever there is any other method which is executed, and this will reduce the code complexity. It will make the code more maintainable, because when you add lots of logging, your codes become very clumsy and hard to read. So this is what we are trying to do with the help of interceptor. So here is what, after review, this has done. It has added some descriptive comments. So you see here, all the manual logging code is removed. It is automatically, logging is automatically done by the interceptor. So I take these changes and going back, this one I should mark as a source folder. just to reduce the warnings. Uh, yeah, add folder to Java source path. Okay, so now this is done. Warnings are removed. So again, the manual logging code is removed. Uh, looks good. So some packages, Jakarta is not being found. This is query param post. It should be within the RESTful APIs. Okay, so it's updating the code. It has updated at various places. So let's look into these one by one in the Java. Okay, it has told me now what all it has done. So first changes made is removed all manual logging statements. Right? So it has simplified unnecessary validations or validations which was getting too complicated, so that our learners are getting deviated to learn more of the credit card validation logic rather than the technicalities of microservices. Now, payment resource, this is also simplified. So now let's look into the changes. So it has improved the exception handling, added comments. Awesome. So I will keep this changes. So this is how intercept. Let's look into, let's again check one more thing around a code, which is, do we really need this demo logging demo service? Do we really need the logging demo service to help our learners better understand uh, interceptors or our comments and readme a documentation is good enough? So again, one more reason, sometimes I have some ideas, I want to validate it, see some opinion, or see whether it is good as per the best practices, that I can get reviewed and verified with the help of Copilot. So here it's giving me recommendation. So your right to question is redundant, should be removed. Uh, so so it's recommending deleting it. So I would say Yes, remove now. So other advantage is that when I remove some files, sometimes I might miss removing the references. With Copilot, I can be more thorough, that everything is removed and references are not getting remaining in any other place. So no leftover references. Everything is deleted in a very clean way. So here you see here the interceptor working is now in real business logic, and this will give good example, and documentation is also there in readme file, so readers will not be distracted and they will be learning interceptor in a better manner. Now having done this, we can remove also the project which is e-commerce is stored now. Now before that, I'll ask the Copilot to create unit tests. So here, please create unit tests for, we'll say with 100% code coverage for payment service. So create unit test with 100% code coverage. So it will create the unit tests. I don't need to create 100% code coverage. I should just create few test cases for demonstration purpose. But let's see. If it's too much of tests, then we will clean it up. Also, I'm checking the capability. Is the Copilot good enough to ensure 100% code coverage? Looks like, because it's analyzing all the branching path. Code is simple, so it will generate all the test cases. So it has created the test file. It has created around 300 lines of code. Okay. So let's run the tests. As I told, this could be run using simple command ambient test. Okay, this is great. So let me run one more time manually by myself. So you see test runs 24. Now it is asking to run this coverage report. Okay, so that some plugins might be required. Let it figure it out by itself. So it's now configuring JCoco. So that's called Java Code Coverage. That's the plugin which will do the code coverage analysis. I have also covered about testing microservices in another article. Let me share that as well. So before that, let me allow it to run and compile the tests. Now it's looking into the report, code coverage report. It should be within the target. Surefire reports. You see here, there are reports. Great. So they have achieved 100% code coverage, which is awesome. So let me run this manually, the test. So yeah, there are two ways to test a microservice. One is using the unit test. When you run a unit test, you can check the business logic. But to test the entire HTTP request logic, for example, you may have the business logic correct, but there could be some misconfiguration in the server which might cause the service to be unavailable. So this you cannot test with unit test, because unit test functions and statements within your code. So then the shell script which we have created is very helpful. So you should have both kinds of scripts. One is your shell scripts, cull commands, which contains cull commands, or you may create a testing interface which can test your service as a remote service. And then there could be a test which is local test which can be running during the compile time to verify the business logic, which is unit tests. So that also I have documented very well. I'll be sharing the details about this in next in the comments or description. So I'll keep these tests, I'll keep all the updates in the form.xml, and this completes our unit testing. And I will also look into the report. So it's asking me to look into site JKCO, and in JKCO report it's asking me to look into an HTML file which is index.html. Okay, so I got this, but this is not available in the preview mode for me. Let's see if I can view it from can I open this using localhost 80 path JKCO report using, let me ask. So here we implemented a payment service. Now we will proceed further in the next session. So yeah, it is in the browser we can open. So open with integrated terminal, open with browser. This is fine, but how do I open? It's giving me a command here. Let me see. Allow. We can serve this in Python. Okay, so this looks, so we can go to CD, target, and then site slash JKCO. And then we can run this as Python server to view the code coverage report. Now it's running. 8090 is the port. I can open this in the browser and now it should show the code coverage report. Right, so I see here code coverage report is there. The payment service is being 100% covered. Okay, making it even bigger for you to easily understand it. And what lines it missed, it's also highlighting. So yeah, this is how it ensured payment services 100% coverage. Now we have completed this, so let me end this session. And thanks for joining. I'll be sharing more resources in the comments. I have another session. I gave a giveaway few days back, announced a giveaway where I had a small contest for the subscribers of my channel. I will be sharing the winners in my next session, which will be after 10 minutes or 5 minutes now. So see you there. And for this session on microservices, I am ending it now. Thank you.